Alright, so today we're going to begin with one of our very first parts. So we're going to go and we're going to, from our home screen, we're going to double left click onto the new part, and we come into the 3D model tab. So to start, we're going to go right here on the sketch panel where it says start 2D sketch. So I'm just going to click on that. Notice when you do that, you get three different planes. You get your XY plane, your YZ plane, and your XZ plane. So you have to follow along. So, and you have to pick a plane. So notice there's my XY plane, here's my YZ plane, and here's my XZ plane. So I tend to always prefer to work on the XY plane and then extrude parts into the Z. That's just the way I do it. However, you can do it any way that you like. So as we go, so again, I'm going to start the sketch, and then I'm just going to pick the plane. And it will automatically rotate that plane so that you're coming into what is called a front view. Notice the X0, Y0 is at the center of the screen, so we can use that coordinate point, or what we call datum position, there to start our drawing. And in this case, I just want to start by drawing a line. Now, I'm still in my sketch mode, so if I click and notice in the create panel, I have lots of different tools here. So at any time, I can just hold my cursor onto any of these particular tools, and it will pop up a window that lets me know what these different tools actually are. So if you have some patience and kind of go through it, just wait, it'll give you the information that you need to as you learn how to use and draw in Inventor software. So I also have the ability, anytime you see a arrow, it means that there's more tools there besides what's just shown. So here, if I click this, notice I have 5 different types of lines. I can create a line, I can create a spline, different types of splines, equation curves that I can put in, or a bridge curve. So we're just going to start here with a line using the line tool. And again, we have to sketch our geometry first. So I'm going to come down, and right now it's wanting to know if I left click any place in here, it's going to create a line. So I'm just going to go here and notice I have I can set it at 90 degrees, I can set it at 0, so on and so forth, at 180 as I go, and I can make different line lengths. Now notice right now that line length is 0.363. So if I want to change that, if I know for sure that I need a 2.5 inch line, so long as that is highlighted, I can just go 2.5 and hit enter. So, and that gives me a 2.5 inch line. Now as we go, I also can create a line and say I want another line at 3.75. So I put my line length, I hit my tab key, so that gave me a line length of 3.75 and locked it in. So, but I didn't hit enter yet, because notice now I also want to basically put a degree of angle. So let me type in 90 and hit tab, and I can go back and forth and I can make changes. When I'm ready, then I hit the enter key and it pops that line in. And now, to exit out of that command, I just right click and hit OK, or I can cancel. Oh, and I have those 2 lines. Now those were not what I wanted to draw in this case. So all I have to do is come up here to my quick access toolbar and undo. That undoes the last line I did, and let's undo it again. So now what I actually want to create here is some horizontal lines, and I'm going to create a rectangle that is 6 inches by 3. So I'm going to come down here again. Notice it will automatically pick up on that datum point. So I could start here and I could physically enter the coordinate point that I want by going 0. If I click my tab button, I'll get into that, and I could go 0, tab 0, and that would put that point right there where I want, or I can actually come in and pick up that point. Now, I want to create a 6-inch line here. So I'm just, again, notice that the 3.194 is highlighted. That's my line length, and I can tell that's my line length because there's the dotted line that's kind of showing extension and dimension lines, so to say. So I'll type in 6, tab, and here I want this at 0 degrees, and hit enter. Now I have my line. Now let's go back up. I want this next one to be 3, so I can either come down and I can try to get it right at 3 by moving my cursor back and forth, or I can just physically enter 3, and again tab, it's already at 90 degrees, so I'm good to go with where I want, and hit enter. Now come back over. I want my next one at 6-inch line length. Now here's a nice feature. Notice Inventor automatically picks up this endpoint. It makes an assumption that maybe you might want to actually put that in line with each other. So I'm going to come in, and that's pick up right there at that. We'll hit enter, and I go back and close. Now this is something important. I'm going to hit something important to remember. In order to create this and do this in 3D, Inventor requires what they call a closed feature. So I can't just draw a line and then extrude it. I have to have basically a closed feature to extrude from. So, and that's what I did here as I closed this box. So to finish this off, I just have to go and finish my sketch. Now it goes into my 3D view and gives me a isometric here. So coming over here to my view cube, I'm just going to hit my home button. That basically expands that and gives me a three-dimensional view, so I can kind of look at it. Now obviously when I created that line that I was going on, it picked some stuff up, so I don't need that. I'm just going to click on and delete that out of there and get rid of that. So we don't need that, but it's actually part of that geometry, so it won't let us do that. So next time we create a drawing, I'll show you, and we won't have that. Now I want to extrude this 1.5 inches deep, so into my Z. So to do that, now I'm still in my 3D model tab, up here to extrude. So the extrude pop-up window comes up, and it automatically picks up that closed feature there. So notice how it's now given it to us. So I want to extrude this 1.5 inches. Notice I can come this way, or over here in my pop-up, I can come out of the screen, so to say. I can go back into the screen. I can split it equally so that it's going back from that XY plane the same amount of distance on either way, or I can make some type of a symmetrical where I set where I want it to be. So for this time, I'm just going to have it coming out towards me and off of our XY plane, and then I just click OK. Now I actually have my three-dimensional part that is basically a 6-inch by 3-inch block. So I'll go up to File and Save. You're going to have to make sure that you navigate through. So in our case, you will always have to remember to navigate through and save to your desktop, because we will save to the desktop, and then you will drag and drop that into your Google Drive so that you have that saved. In this case, this is going to be saved as 3D number 1 hyphen your first initial, your last name. Make sure that you use our file naming system here. So it's 3D number 1 hyphen your first initial, your last name. In my case, it would be 3D number 1 hyphen B Curry, and that would be how I save this file so that we can access it at any time. Remember, always save your files, save and save often. Make sure that you bring those in after you've saved them to your desktop, that you transfer them over into your Google Drive. There's nothing worse than losing a drawing that you were working on and spent you know, an hour or two trying to create and not saving it correctly and then having to go back and start all over. So make sure that you're saving your files according to the right name and putting them into your file folder system so you know where they're at to recall them at any time. Now, when I hit save, you might get this pop-up window. Is not an active project. Do you wish to continue? Yes. That's a feature of Inventor where it keeps all of your part files and your drawing files for the file associativity in one folder as a project, because the way we save our files, we're not going to worry too much about that. I will show you how we maintain and keep everything together so that Inventor will recognize that file associativity with we go. So you can just, if you get that, just click yes. And now notice up here in your quick access toolbar, your file name has changed to 3D number 1 hyphen your first initial and your last name, and that lets you know that you're in the right file.